Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is good to be together. It is good to be with all of you, despite all the troubles and difficulties that exist in the world. And today was such a glorious day. I hope that you had a chance to get outside. You know, when we are able to gather together and to feel the sunshine that not only is coursing through, sometimes through the windows, but also feeling the sunshine that emanates from our community and our congregation. You know, that's the light that we talk about when we gather together, the light that brings us a sense of hope and a sense of holiness in our lives. There are people who bring that sense of hope and holiness in our lives. All of you, our congregation, our community, those who are present with us physically, those who are watching over Zoom and YouTube at home. And we are also blessed to have the light of Cantor Faith Steinsnyder joining us on Shabbat. She's going to lift our hearts and our souls in prayer. And thank you, Cantor. It is always wonderful to hear your beautiful voice and to the beautiful music that you bring to our community and to our congregation. So let's begin and let's sing, even if it is through the masks. We can still hear you. And it is always good to join together, to be together and join together in song and prayer. So we're going to begin in our Shabbat summer prayer books on page 1 with Bim Bam and Shabbat Shalom and Mizmor Shir, a melody of opening Shabbat praise. We need to hear that, particularly now.
Bim Bam, Bim 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 Bam, Bim 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 Bam, Shiri Biri Biri Bim Bam, Bim 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 Bam, Bim 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 Bam. Here we go. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom. Mizmor Shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot laAdonai, ulezamer lishimcha elyon, ulezamer lishimcha elyon. Bottom of the page. Mizmor Shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot laAdonai, ulezamer lishimcha elyon, ulezamer lishimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatcha baleilot, alei asor v'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor. Mizmor Shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot laAdonai, ulezamer lishimcha elyon, ulezamer lishimcha elyon. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam.
We'll start on page 2 with the first reading. Many are the generations of Israel, and in every age we have sought the living God through Sabbath rest and worship. This time and place hold the power to increase our joy in the eternal. O God, even as we seek you in the sanctuary, help us to know that your glory fills all space. Make us understand that you are with us at all times, if we but open our minds to you.
We feel the presence of your Spirit in our homes and on our ways. We see the beauty of your creation in garden, lake, and sky, and in the human form. We hear you in the silence of our own hearts, speaking the truths the heart knows.
May we be your witnesses to the world, your messengers to all the earth.
May we show forth your image within us, the divine spark that makes us human.
Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Another deep breath in, filling your hearts and bodies with the calm and joy of Shabbat. And out, letting go of the stresses of the past week. We welcome the Shabbat bride with song. Lecha Dodi is on page 3.
Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nikabela, Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nikabela, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shem u'letiferet v'litehila, Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela, Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela, Hit oreri, Kiva orech, kumi uri, shir dabeiri, kivod Adonai alayich nigla, lecha dodi, likerat kala, pnei Shabbat, Nekabela, Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela. Boi v'shalom, ateret vala, gam v'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi, likerat kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela, Lecha Dodi, Likerat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela.
We turn to the words of reading 3 on page 5. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and hands, we give praise.
For the peace in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For all these, we give thanks to the Creator of life and nature. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayeichon u'v'yomeichon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, u'v'zman kariv, v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei rabba mevarach, le'alam le'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpar v'yitbarach, קודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו Amen.
We'll stand together in body and in spirit for our call to worship, the Baruch Hu, at the top of page 6.
Lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, yai, lai, 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 yai, yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai, Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed. Lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai,
At the top of page 7 together, Beloved are you, eternal God, by whose design the evening falls, by whose command dimensions open up, and eons pass away, and stars spin in their orbits. You set the rhythms of day and night, the alteration of light and darkness. Sing your creating world. In rising sun and in spreading dusk, Creator of all, you are made manifest. Eternal, everlasting God, may we always be aware of your dominion. Beloved are you, Adonai, for this hour of nightfall.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochveinu u'v'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nisrach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha leolam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu leolamim. Baruch ata Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Shabbat on page 9.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושינתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On page 10, responsively at the top. Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word.
Emet, that pen stroke of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is the Torah.
Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei fele, nora tehilot osei fele. Malchutecha ra'u v'anecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'eli anu ve'amru, ze'eli anu ve'amru. Adonai yimloch leolam ha'ed, Adonai yimloch leolam ha'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei fele, nora tehilot osei fele. ונאמר כיפדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
And responsively at the bottom of page 11, may these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who suffer find solace.
May all who hurt find healing on this day.
May all who despair find purpose.
May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day.
And may this day fulfill its promise.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world. Scattering a song in the silence of the night, eternity utters a day. We've reached the high point of our service, Tefillah, and we'll stand together on page 12. Please be seated. There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
To someone who cannot possibly be of service to us.
There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
There is holiness when we are willing to be laughed at for what we believe in.
There is holiness when we love, truly, honestly, and unselfishly.
There is holiness when we remember the lonely and bring cheer into dark corners.
There is holiness when we share our bread, ideas, and our enthusiasm.
There is holiness when we gather to pray to God who gave us the power.
And we'll continue with Shalom Rav on page 15.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Baruch Atah Adonai Hamivarech et Amo Yisrael B'Shalom.
We'll take time now to think of those in our community who are in need of healing of body, mind, and soul. Right now, our Congregation Shalom community remembered is thinking of Chandel bat Frida Malka, Shirley Graham, Laura Bublitz, Keturah Bublitz, Ari Bublitz, Julie Borochoff, Margot Raz, Carol Dubin, Carrie Yudkovich, Otto Feller, Samsara Vizcaya, Sharon Rotman, Eliyahu Ben Maxinamala, Bob Radke, Lyle Rubble, Mark Cook, Moshe Ben Nechama, Karen Pearson, Jeanne Bass, Alan Turner, Judy Weingarten, Myron Dvorkin, Sybil Sivalsky, Esther Cohen, Lauren Charis, Matt Charis, Lisa Furstadt, Terry Finch, Vince Tomkowitz, Harav Ilana Miriam Bat Chava, Faye Levin, Sarah Rachel Bat Yocheved Alexander, David Feldner, Gili Gollopol, Prue Precourt, Linda Berlin, Alan Elias, Tia Barrett, Wendy Salzberg, Adrian Kotradimos, Kim Toplinsky, Steve Plotkin, Kathy Peltz, Avram Ben Naftuli, Neville Sender, Emma and Max, Harper Pozlowski, Doug Cruz, Nadiva Sara Bat Liba, Sharon Rothstein, Devora Bat Yehuda Malchus, Judith Naiman, Monique Meloche. We'll sing together the Misha Berach on page 17.
Mekor habracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength
take a moment now for silent prayer.
Bottom of 16. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. You know, there are certain times, I guess, in the course of our parenting where I realize that I've made a mistake. And one of those mistakes is that we let our kids get into bed with us at night when they're having like a bad dream, that they crawl into bed with us. You know, with those childhood anxieties that young people have. And my daughter Hannah, well, she's been crawling into our bed the longest since she's the oldest. And she right now is at Camp Interlochen for 2 weeks. She's 8 years old. It's her first time there. And so, you know, leading up to that period of time in which she would be at camp, you know, obviously there are some anxieties that she's feeling. And because she always could crawl into our bed, we never said that she couldn't, it's always been a little bit difficult for her to sleep away. You know, whether it's sleeping away at a friend's house or sleeping away at a cousin's house or sleeping away, I guess, at summer camp, as we discovered when she went to summer camp and was having some trouble sleeping. Well, she's adjusted beautifully and she's sleeping through the night, but guess who's not sleeping now? And the reason is that now not only do we have our childhood anxieties, but now I have adult anxieties. How is she doing? Why isn't she in that picture? How come she's not smiling in that picture that I'm looking online? And, you know, it's hard. It's hard when we have these anxieties about the world. And it's not just anxieties about how my daughter is doing at summer camp. I mean, I think that when we look at the world and we look at the news, I think all of us probably have some anxieties. I'm looking into a congregation of people who are wondering what will be. Are we going to have high holiday services? What if we don't? What if we have to go back to being at home? You know, what if we can't resolve the anger that is existing within our country and the fact that we have two sides that don't listen to each other? All of these what ifs. Now, there's a poem that I read to my kids. I used to love it. I think I've read it to you. Have I read you the What If poem by Shel Silverstein? I have. I see a few nods. Well, I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again because I think it's important for us to hear it. And I think it's important for us to hear it especially now. So I used to read this to my kids until I realized it didn't necessarily have a happy ending. So last night, as I lay thinking here, some what-ifs crawled inside my ear and pranced and partied all night long and sang their same old what-if song. What if I'm dumb in school? What if they've closed the swimming pool? What if I get beat up? What if there's poison in my cup? What if I start to cry? What if I get sick and die? What if I flunk that test? What if green hair grows on my chest? What if nobody likes me? What if a bolt of lightning strikes me? What if I don't grow tall? What if my head starts getting small? What if the fish won't bite? What if the wind tears up my kite? What if they start a war? What if my parents get divorced? I don't know why that rhymes. What if the bus is late? What if my teeth don't grow in straight? What if I tear my pants? What if I never learn to dance? Everything seems swell, and then the nighttime what-ifs strike again. So as I said, I've been having these what-ifs too. I don't know about you, but I certainly have. And so when we look at our Torah, we expect to find some advice, some wisdom that can help us. You know, when we're children and we're suffering from the what-ifs, we could get up and crawl into our parents' beds for the most part, and our parents would tell us everything's going to be all right. In this week's Torah portion, Akev, the Israelites have similar hardships. They lie ready at the border of their promise, ready to conquer the land before them. And it's a land of promise, but they know that between where they stand and where they hope to stand, they know that there's the potential for suffering. And Israel stands pregnant with dreams, ready to give birth to their future, and God says these words, "I will love you and bless you." The Israelites are told that God will be with them. They're told that the difficulties they experienced in the past have been to educate them like a parent would a child, to prepare them for the world, to benefit them in the end. And they're reminded of all the good that lies before them. A land with streams and springs and fountains issuing from plain and hill, a land of wheat and barley, of vines and figs and pomegranates, a land of olive trees and honey, a land where you may eat food without stint, where you will lack nothing, a land whose rocks are iron, from whose hills you can mine copper, a land of peace. When we strip away that ancient subject matter, we find God can be a reassuring parental figure, letting us know that everything can be all right. You know, sometimes it's hard for us to feel the same today, to have that same feeling, to feel that God's presence, like that of a loving parent with all the troubles and questions that haunt us in the night. We might ask, why do I feel so distant from that? Why do I feel like there is an absence, or that contentment, or that sense of everything is going to be all right is far away? The Baal Shem Tov, in a beautiful analogy, was asked about just that. How come we can feel distant from the divine? How come in ancient days we actually felt God's presence through miracles, but now it seems like it's more complicated? Like, like we're more distant. And the Baal Shem Tov gave a beautiful answer. He said, when you set out to teach your little children to walk, you stand in front of them, and they walk towards you. You held out your 2 hands on either side of them to keep them from falling. Then when they came near, didn't you move a little bit back, holding your hands further away? After a while, your children learned to walk on their own, didn't they? I think what the Baal Shem Tov is telling us is that God has taught us to walk on our own. And our portion continues with a reminder that we're given instructions, that we're given a Torah, that we're given commandments, and we're told to live by them. We as a people walk with Torah. It's the living teachings of justice, of truth, and of mercy, articulated by our prophets, written by our scribes, passed on from generation to generation. And it's by the light of Torah that we illuminate our darkened world. It's a ner tamid, an eternal flame kindled by our ancestors, carried by our families, and passed on to us. And so we need to have the confidence to grasp it and to clasp on to that light. We've carried our Torah for millennia because we knew that it has eternal value in our lives. Just as we carry the moral teachings of our parents and live by them and their values, so too do we carry the moral teachings of our people, and we live by them too. We have the potential to make the world a better place with our actions. And if we need to find those who could be close to us to provide us with a sense of feeling as though we can accomplish what we need to accomplish, to feel the comfort, perhaps we need to look to each other, to look to our community and those for whom we can walk together. And we shouldn't fear. Perhaps that our fear is that we've been given the tools that we need in order to succeed, but we believe that we may fail. As Shakespeare once wrote, our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. We should never fear to attempt to make the world a better place. We've been given a charge to faithfully keep God's instructions that God commanded us, loving the eternal our God, walking in God's ways, and holding fast, regardless of how scary the world might become. So, what if that poem and all of those fears could be turned into a different type of poem? And let's see if we can do this here today. I don't expect that we'll be able to make it rhyme just yet. But what if, rather than expressing our fears, we expressed our hopes? What if we could lovingly convince those in our society to become vaccinated, to accept science, and to make our society a safer one? What if we could look at the broken nature of our world, at the environment that is truly in need of innovation, as well as our desire to live a life that will be sustained for our children? What if we made changes in our lives that could create a better world? I want to ask you, take a moment, and I want you to think of what your positive what if could be. And if you feel comfortable, perhaps put up your hand and we'll call on you. And maybe it will rhyme, who knows? I can keep doing more. What if we instilled within the next generation a sense of equality, that we understood that even through difference and even the fact that all people and peoples have such beautiful individuality, but that we are all equal because we are all created in the image of God? All right, it's your turn. Anybody have a what if that they want to throw out there? Yeah, Susie. That's a beautiful one. What if we could feed all the children of the world? It's possible, We could do it. We have so much food in the world. If only we were committed to making sure that there were no hungry. That's a great one. Yeah. Yeah, what if we could have world peace? What if we decided to beat our plows into plowshares and our spears into pruning hooks. These are great ones. Roger.
What if joy rather than anger became the most legitimate way to express yourself?
That's beautiful. And let me repeat it. What if joy rather than anger became the most legitimate way to express ourselves? These are wonderful. Yeah.
What if I live to be 100? Will anything change?
Wow. What if I live to be 100? You should live well and healthily to 120, Jerry. What if I live to 100 and what will change, right? Will it be good? Will it be challenging? I hope it will be good. Yeah. Yeah, what if there was love for every person in this world, right? Love without boundaries, right? They say doctors without borders. Why not love without borders, too? What if, that question, what if, we could turn our anxieties into hope? Because hope is the essential element that makes the world a place in which we are devoted to. If we are absent hope, if we don't have hope that the world could be better, then we stop trying to make it better. And those what ifs, those anxieties can take over. Well, I believe that we're going to see a better world. And that even though this time is difficult, that this bridge will be crossed and we will overcome. For we've been told in this Torah portion to choose life and live. So we live in a time in which, as great as there is potential for difficulty and challenge, there is potential for good. We have the opportunity to restore the environment, to cure disease, to explore the workings of our universe, to feed the hungry, to feed the captive, to love without borders, to express joy, and to express hope in a future that we will have the privilege to see. We've got great potential if only we can reach out and embrace the possibilities. Knowing this, the what-ifs aren't nearly as scary, and knowing this, the what-ifs can become a vision rather than a curse. Maybe I'll be able to sleep tonight. May our what-ifs be transformed by the inspiration of a loving presence. May the struggles of today be perceived as merely challenges waiting to be overcome. And may the world to come, our future, be one of enduring peace and enduring wholeness. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will. She's back on Wednesday, by the way, in case you didn't realize I was worried. We turn now in our Siddur. As once again we praise that presence, that parental presence that exists within the universe in our lives that can give us a sense of hope and a sense of contentment and peace. And we turn to the words of Elenu, which can be found on page 18. Once again, I invite you to rise as we turn to these sacred words, as we open our sacred heart.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא Vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. You may be seated. We
think now of members of our community and of our families who have passed in recent days. Particularly in our hearts and minds, we are thinking of Faye Kohlberg. To Faye's name, too, we add those whom we are commemorating the period of Shloshim, the 30-day mourning period. We think of Dr. Jerome Yitti Cornfield, Jordan Ray Peterson Hare, Dr. Dennis Nathan, and Donald Buddy Rubin. And to the names of our loved ones who have passed in recent days and during the period of Shloshim, so too do we think of those who have passed away in seasons gone by. And though we are marching into the future, we are walking in their footsteps and still feel their loving presence with us each and every day. Particularly in our hearts and minds, we are thinking of Milton Aaron, Ida Adlin, Dana Arnstein, Jordan Bazelon, Benjamin Berg, Morton Berkman, Arthur Cheris, Rose Cohen, Sam Emold, Lena Fox, Herman Friedland, Alan Jeline, Charmaine Goldstein, Lillian Williams Gould, Edward Green, Helen Hoffman, Beth Holzman, Florence Hutkin, Foster Joseph Jacobson, David Jeffrey, Craig Kahn, Rudolph Kane, Ross Codner, Shirley Kritzik, Claire Crum, Harold Crum, William Herbert Lave, Larry Lapidus, Stephen Lefko, Jordan Levin, Jamie Lynn Levine, Norma Lubell, Gary Paler, Elaine Pentler, Bernice Purston, Sharon Ross, Robert Roth, Ruth Rosren, Inga Shopler, Frances Ruth Sheffield, Bunny Shire, Harry Sohn, Charlotte Slater, Louise Sossman, Benjamin Stein, Emma Wise, David Willinson, Mendy Wolfson, Dorothy Zlotkin Collins. If there are names that should be pronounced differently than I did, or names that should be added to this list, please call those names out loud as I look in your direction. Thank you. May their memories be a blessing. May his memory be a blessing as well. May the memories of all of our dear ones be a benediction and a blessing in our lives. Just as we have recited the names of our loved ones, so too do we think of all those who died due to war and or terrorism, all those who have died due to this terrible virus that has stricken our nation and our world, all those who have perished through the virus of racism. We think of all of those who have died in defense of this nation and allied nations' ideals, as well as all those who perished during the Holocaust. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope. The Kaddish Yatom can be found on page 20. We rise now as we recite these sacred words together. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shmei Rabbah, B'alma divrach hirute v'amlich malchute, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach leolam ulamei amaya. Yit barach v'ishtabach v'itpa'ar v'itramam v'itnaseh. V'itadar v'italev v'italal shmei dekudesha prichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, amen. You may be seated. It's a custom in Jewish tradition that we turn from sadness to joy. It's a joy to call upon Ben Marins, our congregational past president, to deliver words of announcements to our congregation. And as he comes up, one of the old traditions that we had at Congregation Shalom that we haven't done in a couple of years was that during the summer months, not only would we share in our sadness and those difficulties that we experience, but also share in our joy. So does anybody have any wonderful things, simchas in their life that they'd like to share with the community and the congregation? Something wonderful, whether it's a birthday, a wedding, all kinds of good stuff. Yeah.
Believe it or not, Helen does. Anyway, I was reminded when our dear friends came in tonight, because I bumped into you after this happened to me. This was the second time, and I'll wait till this winter when we're all together again and tell you about the first time. But I was shopping at Sendix on Silver Spring the other day, and I came up to check my things out, and as I did, and I'm digging around my purse for the checkbook and the little card for Sendix and so on, I could feel a lady and probably her son kind of coming closer and closer. And this is a funny time to be close to strangers. And I mean, she's so close, and I'm still draining around with the checkbook and the card and so on. And she kept saying, I've got it, I've got it. And she's mucking with the little thing, so with the card in it. I've got it, I've got it. What have you got, lady? And I just smiled at her. I'm fine. Maybe she's got the measles. I don't know. She's got my grocery bill. She paid my grocery bill. I mean, I'm walking around in the super and I see these beautiful faces coming in the door as I'm walking out. So, of course, I had a gladness story to tell. But I'm going to tell you the other stories this winter.
Okay, all right. These beautiful acts of kindness, right? It gives you tremendous hope in the world, right? Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Jerry and I received a call this week from a young man who's engaged, whose fiancée we just met a few months ago, and they asked us if we would do the honors of signing their ketubah when they get married.
Oh.
We're not even mishpacha.
To be a witness, you're not supposed to be mishpacha. It means you are a respected, you play a respected and honored role in their life, and what a joy to be a witness. All right. Any other? Yes, go ahead. The United States won a gold medal in gymnastics in the Olympics. Very good. That's wonderful. Olympics represents some wonderful things in the world: sports and cooperation and coming together. Well, these are good things, and don't forget to share the good things. We share in the sadness, but let's share in the joy as well. Not just tears, right? Laughter as well. Ben, take us home, Ben.
Shabbat Shalom. Can you hear me okay? What if, by your mere presence, you changed the world? You changed our community. By your mere presence in this sanctuary, you helped build the community that allowed us to have Shabbat services, to begin the healing and renewal that Shabbat brings. For some of us, that's more than enough, but for some, wouldn't it be nice if there was more? And there is. At 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, there's Torah study, either here or online. And there's also services at 10 o'clock, again, either here or online, where your presence either way affects and builds our community. You can help do that during the week, too, when we have Minyan at 5:45. There are those who need to say Kaddish for a loved one, and there are those who need your presence to help build community to do that. And you're welcome any Monday night, and if you have need of saying Kaddish any weeknight, rather, by all means, you'll find community there. Monday nights, our choir is meeting right over there. And as one of the few tenors, we don't have bad nicknames yet, but we're going to get them because there are not many of us. If you have any inclination to want to sing with us, we'd love to have you. And I can tell you, Cantor Purper keeps us on our toes. Yes, he does. You build community by your presence and your actions, and we are offering volunteer opportunities that we've had in the past. They're back. We hope they're back. Starting on Sunday, October 10th, the work we do with St. Ben's to bring chickens and meals to those in need. The work of our hands group, if you're inclined to knit and purl, starts again Wednesday, August 11th. You can become a member of the membership committee because our members are built on members who take part in committees like that, and committees that this committee run by Charlie Goodman and David Wolfson. Always looking for more members who'd like to take part in helping members feel welcome. If you have not returned your holiday survey, we ask that you please fill that out and get that in. If you have missed going to the Traditions gift shop, I have great news for you. It's reopening August 16th, Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. to noon. And finally, if you enjoyed our musical treat with Little Rev, or you didn't make it but you'd like to see live music again, we have the Fulton String Trio here in our sanctuary Sunday, August 15th at 4 p.m. Shabbat Shalom.
We'll continue with candle lighting on page 21. Cantor Snyder, sorry about that. Cantor Snyder will lead us in Kiddush. Please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat koshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat.
L'chaim, Shabbat Shalom. We have our closing song, Adonai Li, on page 25. And it is the last couple of words of the last line of Adon Olam.
Adonai li velo ira, Adonai li velo ira, Adonai li
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.